time before that, about 160 million years ago. So I'm going to leave with my colleagues and with the fact that we exist, we do think, and we are here, and how the record got as to how got to be here could be debated. We do have information. We probably miss more information than we know. But I will say this, that we've got to be very careful as to how we interpret the record when we're trying to talk about something, because we are subject to ourselves to sink into confusion and to basically involve yourself into what becomes voodoo science, and that is very, very dangerous.
Okay, let me cover 5 main points here. He said we have evidence of whales evolving from land animals. In the first place, this is absolutely incorrect, okay? If he's talking about Ambulocetus, you need to study here. This was made mostly of imagination. If that's your evidence, you need to study the Ambulocetus a little better, okay? There is overwhelming evidence that Ambulocetus is just an unusual animal, or just an animal that may be still existing someplace. There were just a few bones found and a whole lot of plaster of Paris and imagination used to put it together. Basilosaurus is not an intermediate. The serpentine form of the body and peculiar serrated cheek teeth made it plain that these animals could not possibly have been ancestral to any modern whales. This is from one of the experts on invertebrate history here. The evolutionary origin of whales remains controversial among zoologists, Compton's Encyclopedia a couple years ago. Pakicetus, pictured here, is made from one small piece of a skull, a small piece of jaw, and a few teeth. You find a piece of the skull, a few teeth, and a piece of the jaw, and that's proof it's intermediate between a whale and a cow? You have got to be kidding. I'm sure this is one of the ones in his fossil proof for evolution, and you're missing such a major point. I don't know if I can help if you can't get this, but no fossils count as evidence for evolution. In a court of law, they would laugh at you because you bring some bones in and say, Your Honor, this is the ancestor of whales. Well, first place, it's not enough to tell what it is. Secondly, you don't know that that is the ancestor of anybody. You don't know that that animal had any kids that lived. It is absolutely impossible to use any fossils at all as evidence for evolution. And anybody that's telling you fossils are evidence for evolution, you talk about voodoo science, that is it, folks, okay? We know these bones produce something other than their kind. Even though no animal today can do this, these bones were able to do it. That's absolute voodoo science. That's a good word. I got to use that one from now on. I appreciate that, okay? And if we could rewind the tape, we would hear you said many times, well, probably it happened. We're here, so that proves we're here, so that proves evolution. Man, you talk about voodoo science and absolute insanity and logic. We're here, I agree. That doesn't offer any support for the evolution theory. Yes, I agree we're here. I happen to like being here, okay? And then you said something I think the average audience may miss if you're not careful here. He said, well, it's so complicated. And the implication that I get, because I get this all the time, I've done many debates at universities, and I've never had a class in debate. I don't understand how the rules are, and I don't know all about all this timekeeping stuff. All I know is, I think the evidence is overwhelmingly obvious. There must have been a designer, okay? And I'm here to defend the biblical view of creation as the only logical scientific choice. And I'm here to tell people I resent everybody's tax dollars going to pay for this voodoo science of evolution to be taught in this university and other universities around the world. Beer is often sold at football games, but beer has absolutely nothing to do with football. Okay? Beer does not become athletic by association. And just because evolution is mixed into a science book, that does not make evolution part of science. It's just mixed in the book, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm trying to fix it. But he said it's so complicated, we don't want to confuse the people, or something to that effect. I don't remember the exact quote here. to me, what that's trying to imply is they're smart, you're too dumb to understand, and anybody that doesn't believe in evolution is simply dumb. And if you just would study this for 100 hours like I have, then you'd believe like I do. And since you don't believe like I do, you haven't studied enough and you're dumb. That's the implication I'm getting. Is anybody else getting that from this tonight? Okay. Now, we do exist. We are here. I agree. And that is your evidence for evolution? You got to be kidding. All of the evidence of evolution from whales, first place, no fossils count. None. Think about it. No fossils can possibly count for evidence. And the fossils they find are little fragments here and there, and they are putting their imagination and interpretation on those fossils. Look, when you find a bunch of... There is no such thing as a fossil record. How they teach that blows my mind. They say, well, in the fossil record... I say, well, what fossil record? There is no fossil record. There are a bunch of bones in the dirt. There's a bunch of bones in the dirt. I agree. I happen to have a huge fossil collection myself. But those bones don't have dates on them. They don't come with a little tag saying this one evolved into this one. All you do is put your preconceived evolutionary imagination idea on top of these fossils that are found. See, the creationists and the evolutionists are both looking at the same evidence. We both see the fossils. I see that as an example of death. They see that as an example of, wow, that's how we got ahead. All these animals died. Isn't that wonderful? No, that's proof there was a big flood, because fossils just don't normally form except under special conditions, and billions of fossils are found. To me, that's evidence of the Bible. I see it that way. Thank you.
The first question will be posed to the evolutionist side. The question is the Big Bang Theory a reasonable scientific theory? Please explain. You'll have 7 minutes. Mr. Hovind will have 3 minutes to rebuttal, and then we will go on to completely independent question. Is the Big Bang Theory a reasonable scientific theory? Please explain. Thank you.
Is that to us? So that's what asking us. Yeah, I'll answer it. Yes, I will answer the issue for the team. Yes, the Big Bang Theory is viable, but it's one of two theories about the existence of the universe. One of which was a constant energy universe. It said that basically simply exists, and energy is somehow generated within itself inside. There is no scientific evidence to show that particular theory of the universe has ever been proven or shown any evidence to show. The Big Bang Theory does have a piece of evidence that Wilson and Kanzio from Bell Labs got a Nobel Prize for discovering the fact that there was radiation throughout the entire universe is in all particular directions believed to be the remnants of the explosion of the energy in the birth of the universe. And their antennas would basically, they could point, no matter how they pointed the antennas in any direction, they discovered that the intensity of radiation in that particular direction was the same, which was essentially a proof of a piece of data that showed that there may have been something that made the Big Bang Theory. So that we have that. The scientific evidence right now is that the Big Bang Theory is the best knowledge that we have. It is believed. There are some very strange things about it. It starts essentially with there was a void. Now the void is, it wasn't a hole or a box with nothing in it. It basically didn't even have space. There was nothing. And somehow a black hole the size of an atom became unstable and exploded. And it filled essentially into an area the size of an atom, 10 to the 6 more mass than we currently have in the existing universe. I find having something that packed together and how close we are here, and if we believe in the conservation of mass principles and things of this nature, all things have to be conserved. And the conserved the conservation has to exist either in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And as such, we are here and know today the information